Right. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's recording. Brilliant. Okay, the Hungarian Uprising, 1956. I'm very, very interested in this part of history. Now, I'm just showing you initially some photos, okay, some primary sources of information during this uprising in 1956. Now, that obviously is a flag. Oh, pray do tell. What has happened to the middle of it? It's been cut out. Can you think why the Hungarians, who are patriotic and love their country, would have done that? Thank you. It was not the US. That's good. There was a communist symbol in the middle, and they didn't want it. They didn't want to be a communist country anymore, and so a lot of Hungarians cut this out. That was their symbol of their uprising. Okay, so look, there you go. Symbol. It became a symbol of their revolution or uprising. Look at this very young boy here. Okay, his name is Powerpro. Easy name to remember. Powerpro. How old do you think he is? 12. 12. So what? He's actually 15. Okay, he's 15. Yeah. Powerpro 15 was one of many brave teenagers who fought in this uprising, in this rebellion. Now look in the background. What can you see there? Rubble. This is a genuine conflict. Okay. This isn't just like a protest. This is an uprising. It's called the Hungarian Revolt, the Hungarian Uprising. So that means people got weapons and killed people. And a lot of people did die. A lot of blood was spilled.
Was it originally meant to be peaceful?
It did start off that way, and then it did turn very violent. It did manifest in a lot of violence. A lot of blood was spilled. So look at this picture here. Okay? This is a corpse which has been burnt. Such was the strength of feeling towards traitors in the country. Okay? So street justice. So this person was a communist collaborator who collaborated with the Soviets. That was the brutal reality of this uprising. I told you it was violent. Okay? That is the truth of history. History is often horrible and bloody. Okay? And this is one of those instances. Right. Look at this picture here. This is Budapest. Look at the streets. Yeah? Look what you can see there. All right? It's almost like this is a battle zone. Okay? That's damage to their capital city. Imagine if you saw London, and all you can see is rubble and spare tyres and it's burnt. You'd be shocked. Because it's Budapest, well, you're not so shocked. You should be. Now look at this. What can we see there? Yes, and we can see a body that's been rolled over by the tank. Okay, yes. So you can basically, these are people that have been killed, okay, and run over by the tanks. All right. And these are Soviet tanks. So what we know is that Soviet tanks went in, and it looks like literally the revolution has been crushed, or the uprising has been crushed. So a dead rebel on the floor.
There's not just one, there's one behind it.
Yeah, and there's one behind it. Now, look at this man here. Does he look happy to you?
Annoying.
He looks angry, he looks upset. Okay? Does he look old or does he look young? Young. So he's a young person, and most of these people are young people. Young people often go somewhere and they do things. What do we call these people? These young people?
Journalists.
Not journalists, you're close. Students. Okay? These are a group of students. And actually, they're outside the US Embassy. Okay? And they're saying, help us. Please help us. We don't want to be in a communist government anymore. You are America. You are the beacon of free speech, democracy, and hope across the world. Please come here and assist us. And I'm going to tell you, the Americans did nothing. Absolutely nothing in terms of material help. They said, oh, you Soviets are really bad. You totally shouldn't be doing that. Okay, stop it, please. Okay. So, well, what would the consequences have been? Because let's remember, it's almost like there were 3 big conferences, Tirana, Yalta, and Potsdam, where it was agreed that Hungary would be under a sphere of influence under the USSR. So these are basically the red lines. And you know what's very curious is how sacrosanct those meetings are. the long continuity of those meetings, because the USA does not intervene. Does not intervene. And the USSR, for all of their bluster about Berlin, they never send any troops into Berlin. They never attack Berlin, do they? They never attack West Berlin. That never happens. Those 3 meetings at Tehran, Yalta, and Potsdam, and the agreements made in them are enshrined, and they create the new world order. Okay, from essentially 1945 to 1991, 1989, 1991, between the breakdown and dissolution of the Soviet Union. So we're seeing a group of people that want to embrace democracy and free will, but because of the agreements that were made about Europe in those 3 conferences, the USA does not help. They respect those agreements, okay? And that is the theme of continuity throughout this course. And it seems a bit crazy, doesn't it, that America would allow a European country to be dominated by a communist dictatorship. And yet they did. They did. And a lot of Hungarians died as a consequence of this. And not just Hungarian people, Hungarian leaders. Imre Nagy himself was executed as a consequence of this failed and aborted uprising. He was hung in the Soviet Union in 1958. Now imagine that. Yeah, can you imagine the British Prime Minister saying, "No, we don't want to be in a communist country," and the Soviets saying, "No, you have to be." And we said to America, "Please help us," and they didn't. And then imagine Winston Churchill being hung. Okay, in 1958. Imagine. You could not. Just like it just wouldn't go through your heads, would it? But that's exactly what happened to the Hungarians. Right, I'm going to end this video here, and we'll look at the causes of why this happened in another one. Okay? Stop recording. Stop.